Connections of practical experience. This episode is called Hydraulics, Electric, or Direct Push. Morning, guys. There is such a wealth of experience from the bunch of us in our Waterwell Guys group. Some of us take turns posting questions we have, and many of us from all over the country, the world, take our time and write answers to those questions with our real-time, hard-earned, and on-the-ground experiences. Then the Facebook feed rolls on to other topics, and our shared brilliance gets buried somewhere in the bowels of social media. I hope this video is going to be the first of many videos where I try and capture the wealth of the experience we share with each other on different topics. I've compiled your answers, and we'll be making sure that you are credited by name and area for your thoughts. And at the end of the video, I'm going to share a first-hand story of why we might really want to pursue electric hydraulic controls. If you guys like this and this turns into a video series, let's call it The Connections of Practical Experience. If you guys like this, then I'll add a tab to the waterwellconnections.com where you can go and find whatever video you want to watch or listen to, perhaps as you're driving along. So here's today's question I originally asked on the Waterwell Guys group on February 15th. Hydraulic controls. If you were going to build your own custom drill rig, like this one in the picture from Chris Deal, I've got his hat on, would you use direct push hydraulic valves, or would you use some version of remote actuated electric hydraulic controls? When I say direct push hydraulic valves, why am I thinking about our bulletproof 5T Schmiel that is 50 years old? When I reference electric hydraulic controls, why am I thinking about our Takeuchi mini excavator where the smooth, precise electric joystick controls would allow me to gently scratch your back with the bucket teeth? In which direction is our groundwater industry headed? I was in northern Colorado a month or so ago and saw that the big IR rig that Josh Weaver and his family are trying to get to work properly. That particular model of rig is known for being a complete disaster with electric hydraulic controls that don't work very well. In fact, what looked like a big hydraulic hose going up from the actual rig to the control panel is actually filled with wires. The one electrical panel on that rig is very easily accessible from the side of the rig. That's good. But apparently the rest of the controls are so awful that some of you guys said that you have that model rig and you've gone through that machine and eliminated most of the electric hydraulic controls. The flip side to this is that David Baker and his family in Idaho have 3 custom-built hoist trucks that have supersized hydraulic motors, matching hydraulics, and electric controls. The hydraulics are so overpowered, it's like listening to a jet engine power up for takeoff. Whoa, they've been running these trucks for at least 15 years, but they built everything with maintenance in mind. It sure is funny how when any of us guys on the ground build something, we think about the ease of future access and maintenance, but only on the hydraulic lever for the winch line up and down on those trucks did they use the lever directly connected to a hydraulic valve for feel. In my travels so far, if I could have any hoist truck that I've seen, I would want to have one of those David Baker supersized hydraulic powered 50-foot mast trucks with the beautiful stainless steel beds, and those trucks run every day. David's told me that they have replaced those trucks underneath those hoists 3 times in the last 15 years. Sadly, none of those hoist trucks are for sale, and the only way I could get one is to steal it, and I'm not a thief. So we come back to my question. Is it possible to have electric hydraulic controls on a drill rig that works better, lasts longer, is easier to maintain than regular direct push hydraulic valves? Part B to this question would be, if the electric hydraulic controls do require more attention and maintenance, do the advantages that these controls offer overcome the additional servicing of the controls and the valves? And here are your answers. Brian Pinkleton from Why Not, Nebraska. I love that name, Why Not. Nebraska said, electric is good if it's done right. I run a Versadrill 1555 with 19,000 hours. Oh, man. I've never put a switch in. The only wiring problem I had was when I burnt some wires. You're also forgetting the pilot control valves. It's a low pressure system to use to run the valves to the levers. This has been used in heavy equipment since the late 60s and early 70s. He continued, 2016 was the last year of the 15 series. We actually have the last one built. We went to the Mark 70 and now the Mark 50. I'm not going to say that things don't break. I've also spent hundreds of thousands of hours running equipment and everything breaks. So true. Chris Deal from Burgaw, North Carolina. This is his rig that he custom built. When we built our rig, I stayed with all hydraulic valves. We have some electric things like solenoids that run hose reels and tank fills. He showed the picture of his electrical cabinet on the Waterwall Guys group. It is really simple. All power sources is in here are with relays to a switch and whatever it operates. Screens and Bluetooth stuff is nice, but it's also downtime, and I'm not up for that. Anyone can work on this rig. We need to keep in mind every moving part wears out, and we already have enough of those on these machines. I replied, I don't know if I can buy into the digital control screens at all. Has anyone with digital control screens working on their equipment, has it lasted for more than a decade? The closest we have to anything like that is on our Atlas Copco compressor, and that screen with touch controls is great when it works, and it's horrible when it doesn't. Brian Pinkleton continued with the conversations with, I'd say if the screen is exposed to the elements, it will not last. If it's protected, it probably will be okay. I mean, just Google what a cab of a John Deere 9R tractor looks like. I replied, that's a good point, but then again, that tractor is not 10 years old. The screen we have on our Atlas Copco compressor is covered by a little door, but at some point we're going to have to either replace that screen or completely go away from the electronics on that unit. Brian continued, okay, I get it. There are plenty of those screens, obviously, on that tractor that are 10 years old. Brian Camp, out of Cheyenne Wells in northern Colorado, said, they all have their place. Direct leverage is for a pulling unit, would be my first choice. Electric is the way to go for something that needs to be done to tune adjustments or automatic adjustments. Our trenchers have electric for the main wheel drive system so that when trenching, you can set it precisely and it will automatically keep the engine lugged down to maximize production. It senses the RPMs off of the alternator, and if it slows down too much, it slows down the wheels. If it ramps up too much, then it speeds up the wheels, pulling the trenching bar into the dirt more. Our mid-size excavator has hydraulic pilot control valves. They seem to work nice and smooth and let you have the hydraulic bank heat outside the cab. Also, when we bought it, it came used. It came with 55 gallons of horse feed and its very own pack rat. And we had to redo a lot of the wiring that the rat had chewed. But all the hydraulic hoses and the mini pilot hydraulic hoses were okay. Pilot or electric is the way to go for something that you're going to be pushing on all day, like a mini excavator or a skid steer. And they are a great fit for our outdoor industry. I replied, Brian, one of the things that I can't stop thinking about is having a mini excavator style of cab that swings out off the back of a drill rig so the operator can see the actual table of the rig and then swing and then around the whole side of that rig with a screen inside of the cab that shows the other side of the rig. Then inside of the cab, joystick controls control the drilling process. The driller is out of the elements and is protected, and if automatic stem handling takes place, everyone is completely safe. I think some version of this is where our industry is headed. Brian said, I definitely agree with this on a drill rig. Look at all the HDD rigs now for utilities installation. Most of them are hands-free and offer cabs for the operator. Brian Pinkleton jumped back in the conversation with, Joel, you and me are thinking about cabs for drill rigs, and then he added, with a loud horn so you can honk at the help all day. Brian Kemp commented to Brian Pinkleton, if you ever ran a skid steer with a cab, that horn is invaluable. I don't know why they don't put in a loud PA system so you can actually tell them what you need to know instead of hand signals What kind of hand signals? Or hollering out of the window 3 times until they get close enough. Brian Pinkleton replied to Brian Kemp, very good point. I'm going to use that. Brian said, okay. Dave Estridge from Shelby in Indiana said, Joel, these changes are just going to happen. By the way, guys, Dave Estridge is a national drill rig mobile mechanic. He was formerly with Versadrill, and now he travels throughout the entire country with his wife in a pickup chock full of parts and tools. He's a great guy. Need help on your rig? Hire him. I replied to Brian Pinkleton, headset, radios, and a helper, just alive enough to dial 911. And Brian told me, Joel, he goes, I don't deal with help like that. I've really been fortunate to have great guys to work with. I always feel that if they don't have the potential to get up and run the controls, why have them? I mean, honestly, every person on site should have a general knowledge of how things work in case of an emergency. Brian, you get the Joel Hellwege, you are right, honey. Absolutely, you are correct. You're very fortunate. That thread ended with Brian Kemp, who is very tall, saying, "I couldn't wear your headset hard hat when running a skid steer. I have to take my regular hard hat off for headroom, and also in a pickup." Travis Russell from Nacogdoches, Texas, jumped into the conversation with, "Electric over hydraulic works great until it doesn't. Hydraulic only." Corey Miller from Winsboro, Texas, responded with, "Travis, perfectly stated." Colt McCarthy from Austin, Texas, said, "I've had the opportunity to work on 100% electric over hydraulic, autonomous drills, and everything in between. The challenging part of this question is that electric can mean a simple 12-volt solenoid valve to control one function all the way up to a complete CAN bus network with infinite programming possibilities. Designing the right thing for the right thing is what really matters. Dream big, Joel. If you want to run your rig from your living room in your pajamas, the technology is here. Of course, someone still has to drive it to the site and handle stuff on the ground, but you could be the drilling robot operator. Woohoo! That's what I want." You got it. I'm with you. Okay, I told Colt McCarthy the reason for this post is that a friend of mine is going to build his own drill rig, and he only wants to use hydraulic controls with no electrics, no remote functioning. So I thought it'd be interesting to throw this post up into the air with you guys and see what your thoughts are. Me, if I was going to build a drill rig, I would build it with electric motors, electric winches, and a big engine powering a generator. Colt McCarthy said, "Sounds like a fun project." I replied to Colt, "Richie Young in Fort Worth, Texas, gave Carl and myself a ride in his Tesla this past summer. He went from 20 miles an hour to 85 miles an hour in about 3 seconds. My conversion to the power and might of electric motors took place right then. My son's been arguing with me for over 20 years about using electric motors on drill rigs, and now I think he's right." Scott Mosier, who builds the TDH pump trucks, said, "It's the way the world is going. We have over 500 hoists out there with electric over hydraulic, and they love it. Other than the 8 or 10 haters that love to post on Facebook." Brian Pinkleton said, "I'll add another thing. With electric over hydraulic, you have remote options. I have a helper's side cordless remote. It runs the winch, jib, boom, and carousel. You are capable of loading and unloading the carousel with one person and can run everything while you're drilling. One person is where you need to go sometimes." Corey Miller, obviously a romantic from Winsboro, Texas, said, "The KISS principle." Keep it simple, stupid. I own 5 old-style mechanical Kelly drive rigs with only minimal hydraulics to raise the derrick, retract the rotary, and then run the centerline mud pumps. Everything that breaks we can figure out and fix. I own one SS 185K all hydraulic rig. We're having a mechanic from Bauer Jeffco out on Monday at $150 an hour to try to figure out why the slow feed system isn't working. You want to maximize responsibility? KISS. Okay, keep it simple, stupid. Charles Michael said, "For reliable, simple is king. I'm a hydraulics guy and have set up systems. The straight hydraulic manual is the most reliable." hydraulic pilot control is very reliable and has the best feel and smoother control. Air over hydraulic has very good control and is smooth but less reliable and cheaper than hydraulic pilot. Electric bang bang style on and off is cheap, but it lacks control and is pretty reliable. Electric proportional control over hydraulic has good control if it's used often, and on good equipment it can be reliable. However, it does not like to sit and then be used. Best overall for control and reliability is pilot hydraulics. It can sit for years if it's well sealed, and it has smooth control that you can feel. That's why excavators use it. I totally agree. Corey Miller at C. Miller Drilling, he said, we have built 3 rigs from scratch and have re-engineered and upgraded 4 other rigs throughout. As owner and inventor of Centerline manufacturer of the Centerline direct hydraulic drive mud pumps, I certainly value and appreciate hydraulics, but the more complicated they get, the less reliable they are. There is no getting around that reality. The last rig we built will drill 2,000 feet and is completely a hydraulic drive using the simplest hydrostatic hydraulic systems for the rotary table drive, the drawworks, and the 2 mud pump drives. It's truly a great rig, but it's also noticeably less reliable than our older, mostly mechanical rigs. We will keep rebuilding the old machines forever as needed. Nothing being manufactured today has the level of simplicity and the ease of diagnosis and repair as the old rigs, in my humble opinion, he said. Travis Russell agreed with Corey. I agree with your thoughts. We purchased a new several years ago, a Taylor 5000, and it has been a fantastic machine. With time, things have worn and such as extremely expensive hydraulics, etc., and the piper had to be paid its due. The Jeffco SS40, practically an all-mechanical rig, has had very little wrong, just normal wear. It operates much cheaper than the Taylor, long or short term. The old Taylor is extremely strong and a beast in its class, though. Like you say, KISS. Then Travis shared a couple pictures of the Taylor drill rig, and they are big rigs. You can see that on the Waterwell guys. Travis continued, these rigs are well built, minimum 200,000 pound capacity, and will easily do it. Don't ask how I know. For a 1-minute video, look on the YouTube Russell Drilling Sargent Generation 2 pipe spinner. Running 8 5/8 casing about 3,000 feet plus. It takes just over a minute a joint. Man, these guys have it down. Corey Miller asked Travis, is Taylor still in business or did COVID take him out? Travis Russell replied, I think something took them out. I think Brett Taylor is with some other company that might sell the same stuff. So, last summer, David and Mindy Baker, my bride and myself, went out to dinner to experience the best of Idaho steak. And we did. What a great time. They invited their youngest son to dinner with us, who I'm guessing might be about 20 years of age. All the rest of their older children are involved in their business in drilling and pumps, and they're actively engaged in the whirlwind of life. Their youngest son functions to the beat of a different drummer. He sort of works for the family business when he has to, when he needs money, but he'd rather be at home doing gaming and other video computer type of pursuits. I asked David if I could engage with his son, and he said yes. Some of you know what I was asking since I've engaged with your children at dinner when I've been visiting you. I have a teasing, probing, gently hassling style that involves a lot of laughing as I try to get past the conventional, show your teeth, normal dinner conversations. In a rollicking conversation in between bites of fantastic steak, I tried to peel their son's onion layers back to find out why he didn't want to step up and want to become a driller. What I came away with was that he would really have to step up his game with already powerful and successful family brothers. But that was only part of it. Then he revealed that he would have to commit to spending his life being uncomfortable on the back of various rigs, standing and baking in the sun, or freezing his tush off in the Idaho winters. His incredible eye-hand coordination, experienced in his gaming is lost to our well drilling industry due to his unwillingness to live his life being uncomfortable. Then I asked him if a drill rig was built so that it could have a mini excavator style of cab that would swing out from the back of it, and you could sit there in a controlled temperature that you liked, and had joysticks that would operate the rig, would that make running a rig attractive to you? His eyes finally twinkled. As we wrapped up dinner, we talked about making our industry's drilling equipment to be fun and easy to run, just like our mini excavators that everybody likes to jump in and operate. Our drilling industry is going through massive changes in both equipment and personnel. The men who are the bulls in our industry will want to take and build direct push hydraulic rigs that will take almost no maintenance and will last for many years with minimal downtime, and will find other powerful men to deal with running them, and will probably make the most money for a while. Meanwhile, we have many young people who know that they don't want to sacrifice their bodies on the altar of physically hard work, and they won't. But they also have incredible skills and minds that are uncluttered by bodily pain. Can we end up building drilling equipment that will be as easy to run as the excavation industry has? Can we capture these young people and draw in their twinkle factor to everyone's benefit in our groundwater industry? Uh-oh, that's going to require electric pilot hydraulic controls. Thanks to each of you who commented, and to David Baker and his family for allowing some of their internal family workings to be shared. May God bless all of us and all of our efforts.